Welcome back, and thank you very much for choosing to stay with us. Now, the question is, what all is said and done? So many questions are rising, but also so many Kenyans coming out to say, at least there's action that has been taken. I want to talk to the expert in studio, the advocate, Willis Otieno, who is one of the most brilliant minds in the country, understands the law like the back of his hand. It's very good to have you tonight.
Thank you very much.
Let's just go straight into it.
Yes.
You have observed. In fact, we spoke. We have been following closely the constitutionality of what is happening in the country.
Yes.
To fire and to hire, the power is bestowed upon the head of state.
Yes.
Now, questions are coming and saying, you do not have to fire cabinet secretaries just like that, even after the demands to fire them. Where do we draw the line?
No. The power to fire vests in the president without any check. But the power to hire is subject to parliamentary check. Article 152 is very clear that when it comes to appointment of a cabinet, the president has to do it with the approval. They must go through a vetting process through parliament. But the power to dismiss vests solely in him. He doesn't have to get parliamentary approval. But we must also understand why we are here. Okay. We are where we are because the people of Kenya have, in exercise of their Article 1 sovereign right, decided to be exercising their sovereignty directly. They've taken away their sovereignty from William Ruto and Parliament. It's now with the people. The people are now setting the agenda of the country. They've said reject finance bill, you must reject finance bill. Don't amend. They've said you dissolve your cabinet, don't reshuffle, dissolve, he has dissolved. And they're also saying Ruto must go. And they're also saying further, reconstitute IEBC. Why? Because sovereignty is in their hands now. They're exercising it. And we must understand why we are here. We are where we are because of the economic pain. Ruto's cabinet and Ruto himself failed to address the economic challenges of the people of Kenya. It's the economy, full stop. And all the interventions have not addressed our economic pain. And if you listen to William Ruto speaking today, 3/4 of his statement was enunciating the successes of this cabinet, how good they've worked, how much they've delivered. And then the last 3 paragraphs, he dissolves and fires all of them. Now, if they've been that good, as he writes in his statement, why is he dismissing them?
I want us to continue. Now, why is he dismissing them? You have said the power is back in the hands of the people.
Yes.
But we need a country to run.
Yes.
We need a full cabinet,
as
of course given in the Constitution. So when he says he'll be working in the next few weeks to bring in a full cabinet, and that we are now operating with the PSS in office, in fact, we have had the legal advisor of the president equally dismissed.
And
What's next?
The legal advisor is not in office. And look at it this way. In fact, today, our Standard newspaper, very boldly, did have him say that my advice is not taken. And there have been various instances, even look at the cases that have come up against the government, that they've been losing in court. So probably even Ruto and his cabinet were not listening to sound legal advice. There are certain things that are so obvious to any lawyer or any person who has read the law that tells you, why will this government be so blinded to be making such a decision? But that is who they are. The main focus is that when Ruto says that the PSS will be in charge, we will come back with a government, national unity, so to speak, a broad-based government. Who is he speaking on behalf of? Because the sovereign, the people of Kenya, have not agreed. When he tried with Baba Raila Odinga the other day, that let us go and have a national dialogue. I mean, the great Raila Odinga himself faced a public backlash that he has never seen before. Because the issues we are raising cannot be resolved by the political class in a political conversation. These issues are not owned by any specific constituency, any identifiable constituency. There is nobody you can say is the leader of this feeling. The leader of this feeling is the economic pain that every Kenyan in his individual capacity feels at his home. The collapse of our economy. We are now staring at a fiscal collapse of the entire country. There is no politician who will say, I understand it better than you do, because it is the individual who is living the pain. And part of this, what William Ruto and his people are avoiding. And I can assure Kenyans, we are going to get there. The main thing, which is the elephant in the room, is the odious debt that out of every 100 Kenya shillings that the people of Kenya collect, 80 shillings goes to pay debts. There is no money to run government. There is no money to serve the people. This debt, you must open that debt book. The sum must come down from 80 shillings at present to even 20. If there's fake debt there, remove it. Give people a breather.
All right, but what timeline does President Ruto have at this juncture?
Unfortunately for President Ruto, he's just kicking the can down the road, and the road has become narrow. It's the end. I said, and I repeat, going William Ruto will go. The question is when. Do we have the patience to wait until 2027, or will he, at this particular point, take what, in my view, I perceive to be the only legacy that will remain of William Ruto? If he said, in light of what we are going through, I invite the people of Kenya who have taken back their sovereignty, that we walked a journey that will lead us to a fresh election, where the people have an opportunity to donate back their sovereignty. And if William Ruto and his team have performed as they've done, they are also free to offer themselves for elections. Then the people will give them a fresh mandate as compared to any other person who will offer himself to contest for that election.
Wakili, let me cut you short. You know, when you speak of this, we need a functioning IEBC.
Yes.
We do have the amendment bill that was just signed the other day.
Yes.
As you speak this to the nation, and you also then do not disregard the situation that we are in as far as positioning this commission as is concerned.
Yes.
I mean, what timeline are you talking about?
When I say that's why I said you can invite the nation.
All right.
That's the kind of approach I'm seeing. That for us to appoint the IEBC commissioners, it will take us maybe 2 months. From the selection panel to advertisements to appointment, 2 months. I'll say, let's work towards an election even in 6 months, even in 1 year. Time frame you can debate, even if it's 18 months. But you must show people that at some point, we cannot continue like this. We cannot continue running government from the streets. Because the streets now is running government. It's the people running their government directly. But you need to give those people an opportunity to donate back their sovereignty to an elected group. And William Ruto and Kenya Kwanza are free to offer themselves and to contest in that election and to be considered based on their performance. If they've delivered and the people believe them, then they can get a fresh mandate and then serve. If they don't, the people will have an opportunity to donate their sovereignty to another group of Kenyans who will now superintend over our governance. Anything short of that, I'm sorry to say this, anything short of an election at this particular point in our country, this country will never move forward. Remember this. You are saying that you want a national dialogue. 150 people. Raila Odinga, the leader of Azimio, has said, I'm in it. In Azimio, you have Kalonzo Musyoka said, I'm not in it. You have Eugene Wamalwa, I'm not in it. You have the Gen Zs saying, we are not in it. So who are you going to dialogue with?
All right.
So already that dialogue process has lost legitimacy. So where are you going to find an opportunity that you'll have a representative group that enjoys the legitimacy of the people? In my view, it can only be in an election.
So what you're saying is the safe way, even in the law, that you consider an election?
I consider an election. We go through a process that leads to an election. If William Ruto, for example, today said, I'm resigning in 6 months' time, we can have fresh elections. The country will be aligned. You'll actually see the energy of the country move towards a preparation, organization, towards electing, donating back their mandate, their sovereignty to that new group that they're going to vote for.
I want us to talk about two main things. Now, the president dissolved the cabinet. Of course, people were asking how short is shortly. Now we have seen it. But then there's another uproar. Dissolve the parliament.
Well, parliament was dissolved by the people of Kenya on the 25th of June.
You say it was already dissolved by the
Parliament
people? They're all recessed.
You see, Parliament is dissolved. The moment the people breached Parliament and the people with their own speaker, that gentleman was saying, Mr. Speaker, sir, I am here to address you. That was the people taking away their sovereignty from Parliament. How will that Parliament that had voted for their pain in the finance bill, where does it derive its legitimacy to sit now and, for example, assuming William Ruto was to nominate cabinet secretaries, they have to go back to Parliament. The people had already shown their displeasure with that parliament. They will not believe anything that comes out of that parliament. Even the Senate, when they passed the amendments to the conflict of interest bill,
yes,
you saw the reaction of the people. The senators themselves now have to go around apologizing. Members of parliament who voted for the finance bill are not staying in their homes. Who are they representing? Parliament is a representative body. The onerous thing that we must do, if we are to follow the law, even parliament having been dissolved by the people, those members of parliament who are serving should do the honorable thing. They resign honorably, offer themselves to fresh elections once you have an IBC, and the people constitute a new elective body that will be speaking on their behalf.
Very, very interesting. Now, I know it's a quick one and we're just about to wrap up, but some of the offices that were left functional, the Deputy President's office and the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary. Let's speak about the legalities around the Prime Cabinet Secretary's office, and according to you, in your opinion, should he have equally been dismissed?
You know, the first point is this. The position that Mudavadi holds, he is holding his office as a cabinet member. The office of Prime Cabinet Secretary does not exist in law.
Okay.
It's a creation of an executive order. It's an illegal office. If you look at our constitution, the cabinet shall consist of the president, the deputy president, and the members of the cabinet not less than 14 and not more than 22. That is what is called the cabinet.
So not even the NADCO report?
No, as it is today, the people of Kenya do not have a cabinet. We have William Ruto as president. We have Rigathi Gachagua as deputy president.
All right.
Musalia Mudavadi cannot sit with them and say, we now constitute the cabinet. Because for the cabinet to have quorum, to be constituted, it should be the president who has an office, the deputy president, and at least 14 members. And a maximum of 22. How does Mudavadi walk in the room an individual? What portfolio is representing? What decision will they be making? So we now have Mudavadi, in my view, I think for political expediency, being left to continue enjoying the largesse of public coffers, hoping that when the new team comes, they'll go back into normal life.
As we close, just a quick one.
Yes.
You know, there was a debate around hiring or nominating technocrats versus political allies or friends, in as far as politics is concerned, to the offices of the CSS. What do you think is the criteria according to the law? And it's a very hard, not a hard one to crack here. Together with your closing remarks.
You know, Kenya Kwanza and Ruto had gone rogue because the Constitution sets up the cabinet, which principal function is to advise the president. Then these members of cabinet come up with their own advisors. The president himself has his own advisors. They were no longer operating within the law. But these positions have been used now to offer, in my view, political rewards. So it's a time that now when we are reconstituting this cabinet and new government, in my view, it must be a government that accords to the Constitution, that serves the people. If you're bringing a professional, if you're bringing a technocrat, even if you're bringing a politician, Kibaki's cabinet was purely 100% politicians. But so far, in the last 20 years, let's say 30 years, Kibaki's cabinet was the best cabinet, if I compare with the ones we've had before. And those were 100% politicians because they understood political philosophy, they understood technical issue that needs to be done, and they were able to separate themselves from the technical and focus them only on the policy issues.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much for creating time to be here, Wakili, this evening. We are always looking forward to these quick questions and, of course, giving us the alignment to the law.
Thank you.
All right, that is Advocate Willis Otieno, just letting us know what next for the country and also legally explaining what exactly has happened, what we're terming quite historic, many people saying and acknowledging thanks to the Gen Zs. We're still on with the Primetime News. We'll be right back after this break.